You are with Talks on the Way of Wisdom, the forum that discusses star battles in human consciousness. Wisdom, how to live without destroying. Life often takes us down ways filled with temptations, challenges, and aspirations for material success. In this pursuit, we forget true values and leave behind traces that are not always virtuous. Ancient wisdom teaches us that, like the bee that gathers the nectar of flowers without destroying their beauty, we too can live balanced lives without harming the world around us. Our time here is limited, and death, the end of all things, reminds us of the fragility of life. How often do we waste precious moments focused on the mistakes of others? The judgment and criticism of others distances us from our own spiritual growth. Instead of looking inward, we waste our time blaming the world for our failures. This doesn't make us better, but instead traps us in a vicious cycle of discontent and envy. Ancient teachings remind us that liberation begins from within. This article will help you understand how to cultivate the wisdom of the bee, how to let go of judgment, and use the transience of life as a tool for spiritual awakening. Together, let us seek the way to a deeper and more meaningful life. The wisdom of the bee, moderation and balance. The bee is a symbol of balance and harmony. It gathers the nectar of flowers, taking only what it needs, leaving the beauty of the flower intact. Buddhist teachings teach us that this metaphor is central to our lives. How often do we humans take more than we need? We live in a world of consumerism, where greed and the pursuit of possessions become the primary goal. In this pursuit, we forget that true happiness comes not from accumulating possessions, but from living in moderation and with respect for the world around us. Nature is an example of the perfect balance. The bee does not destroy the flower, but pollinates it and gives it life. In the same way, we too can live, leaving behind goodness, beauty, and meaning. Living in moderation means understanding our true needs and avoiding excess. This philosophy applies not only to the material, but also to our emotions and thoughts. Excessive anger, envy, or judgment pollute our inner world. Life offers us a wealth of experiences and opportunities, but only if we approach it with awareness and respect. Let us ask ourselves, how can we live like the bee? How can we take only what we need and leave behind a trail of virtue? The answer lies in balance, moderation, and awareness, which are the foundation of spiritual growth. Looking inside, liberation from judgment. Buddhist teachings teach us a simple but profound principle: to focus on our faults, not on the faults of others. In our daily lives, we spend too much time criticizing, judging, and wasting energy in a direction that does us no good. How often do we notice the faults of others, but do not see our own weaknesses? This is one of the pitfalls of the ego. It causes us to look outside for blame instead of taking responsibility for our own lives. Real change starts from within. When we turn our gaze inward, we begin to understand our actions and their consequences. This does not mean being overly critical of ourselves, but approaching with awareness and a desire to evolve. Only in this way can we free ourselves from the toxicity of judgment and cultivate virtue. Let us look at ourselves. What are our weaknesses? How can we overcome them and become a better version of ourselves? Instead of wallowing in judgment, we can use that energy for growth and spiritual awakening. Only in this way can we contribute to a more harmonious world. Death is a teacher of life. Death is the greatest teacher in our lives. It reminds us that everything is transient and our time is limited. Why then do we waste it in non-essentials? Instead of fearing death, we can use it as a tool for awareness and spiritual awakening. Our life is like a flame, bright but short. How often do we put off important things until tomorrow? The truth is, we don't know how much time we have left. Death teaches us to cherish each moment and live fully. Awareness of the transience of life helps us prioritize what really matters. Family, friendships, virtue, these things are left behind. Whether we live like the bee that leaves beauty behind or waste our time depends on our choices. Let death spur us to action. May we use it as motivation to live with wisdom, compassion, and love. Every moment is precious, and every day is an opportunity to make the world a better place. Let's summarize. Life is short but full of possibilities. Ancient wisdom teaches us to live mindfully and meaningfully, to be like the bee, to take only what we need and leave behind goodness and harmony. Instead of wasting time in judging others, let us look at ourselves and begin our spiritual growth. Death is our greatest teacher. It reminds us that time is precious and limited. So let us live with wisdom, compassion, and awareness. Every day is an opportunity to leave behind a legacy that will stand the test of time. It is time to make a choice. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like our channel.